Hi everyone, it's Latin Roses again, and today I'm here to talk to you about a very serious topic. And I would like to talk to you about how to recover from a divorce or how to bounce back. And if you're looking for ideas and ways to take revenge on a cheater or somebody did you wrong, this video is not for you. This is mostly geared towards females, the ladies, but if a man can pick up something from this too, that's great. But I'm really talking to the ladies and especially the women that have a family, that have children. So if you're watching this video, probably you're going through it right now, or you recently have been going through your divorce. It is one of the most painful experiences you'll ever have. It's literally like a bomb just went off in your life. It just exploded. It's devastating. It's ground zero, especially if you were the one that was left, if you were the one that felt blindsided. You didn't see it coming. Maybe you saw it. I mean, if you really think about it, there's always like little signs, but sometimes we just push through that thinking it's just normal couple things and we just got to work on it. And you felt like you've been the loyal spouse, that you've been there, kept at the house, the kids, maybe you're working too, holding on the job. Or maybe after this divorce, it's really changed your world. Like now, if you had a home together or wherever you lived, now you have to sell it, especially if you're in a no-fault joint property state like California, and maybe you lived in a nice, beautiful, big home, and now you had to downsize because the divorce will change you financially. It will decrease your finances. It'll decrease the lifestyle that you were accustomed to and your children were accustomed to. You go from being safe, feeling safe, and having that place to always come home to your home, your apartment, wherever you lived, and now it's gone and you have to leave, and it's devastating because a woman's most important needs is to feel safe and secure. And when a divorce hits and you're literally uprooted from where you live and you have to split everything, you're feeling anything but secure. You're worried. You don't really know where you're going to go. In the beginning, it's so devastating. Financially, literally where you're going to be, what's going to happen to your children. Nowadays, most courts do give 50-50 joint custody. So that literally means that, especially if you didn't want the divorce and you didn't see it coming, it means that you went from seeing your children every single day and every single night to whenever your assigned days are. That is so devastating to moms, especially because of our mother internal instinct. And when we had our babies, we signed up to be in a family. We thought we were going to be together forever. So that kind of went away too. Our vision of what we had for our life. And if that's not bad enough, if for some reason your marriage failed, it ended because your spouse had a midlife crisis, they were cheating on you, they ran off with their secretary or somebody, they're cheating on you, or they just wanted out. It's rejection at the most highest form of rejection once you're married, because you took vows, you thought you were safe, you thought they were taking the vows as seriously as you, and that you were faithful to them, and they weren't to you. And then you start doubting yourself. Your self-esteem hits the floor. No matter how beautiful you are, you'll feel like, okay, maybe I wasn't pretty enough. Maybe I gained weight. Maybe I'm too thin. Maybe I'm boring. Maybe I'm not good in the sack. You just doubt yourself on every level. So you're going through all these emotions, and there's those 5 stages of like death that you are the same thing you go through with divorce. And when they say divorce is like a death. It really is. I hear some people who've never been divorced, who've never experienced it, don't understand. They told me, like, how can you compare divorce to a death? Your ex-spouse is still walking around the planet. They didn't die. That's true. They're still walking around the planet, but it is like death. And they were there in your bed, like, every night, and now they're gone. You used to be able to call upon your spouse, and for some of us, our best friends, we thought, say, I'm working late. Can you bring home a pizza on your way home? What do you want for dinner? If you hear, especially as a woman, you hear that bump in the night, you could say, hey, can you get up and check that? Now you're like totally on your own. They're gone. Yes, they're walking the planet somewhere, but there's no one in your bed. You went from having somebody in your bed one day to nobody there. Somebody to come home to every day to share your day with, to nobody being there. No one to share anything going on with your children in school or anything. There's just gone. And some people are fortunate. They do end amicably on a good note. They stay friends. But honestly, a lot of us don't, especially the ones that have been blindsided. And unfortunate for the children, if there's children involved, it makes it really hard. And you also hear a lot of people say, well, you have to get along for the children. You have to, hold it together for your children. But in a perfect world, yes, way to get along, we'd be best friends. Especially if there was some type of physical or verbal abuse going on, there probably won't be a best friend relationship. If you were devastated because this person cheated on you, or left you for somebody, or just plain walked out to live their life to make themselves happy, then sometimes it's just not that easy to get over that. So one of my friends, who never was divorced, by the way, gave me some really great advice. It really helped me. She said, whatever you're feeling at any given time is right. It's right for you. And it's natural. And it is. And we're all different. Sometimes we'll get angry. Sometimes we'll just be sad, upset. It's crying. We feel sorry for ourselves. And I think everybody just about kind of goes into a depression mode, denial mode. I can't believe it's happening. Depression, anger. Basically, we're devastated. We're devastated, and some of us feel like we can't get out of bed. And you might need to stay in bed a few days. And you will cry a lot. You will mourn a lot. You will be angry. Why is this happening? But after some years have passed, after some time, and for some people it doesn't take years. And I don't mean just going on with your life and meeting other people. As time passes, you realize you have to go on for yourself, and especially if you have children. If you have to go out and find a job for the first time, that's something that you need to do. You will do it. You will find another place to live eventually, even if that means moving back home with your parents, staying with a friend, a relative, having to downsize into something small or smaller than what you were used to. You will be fine. You will be okay. But you do have to have your time of mourning. You do have to. It sucks. You have to cry. You have to be angry. You have to talk and lean on your friends and your family, who don't always understand everything if they haven't been through it. They don't see everything the way you do. But the best thing you can do for yourself, give yourself that freedom to mourn, to be angry, to be upset. And unfortunately, bad thoughts come to us, and we do wish harm sometimes on our ex-spouse, and all those are normal as long as you don't act out on that. You just don't do it. But it's normal. You've been hurt. You're really hurt. And it's okay to be hurt. They say you're not supposed to talk bad and negatively in front of your children about your ex or soon-to-be ex. And that can be really hard. And I think a lot of times people that say that have never been through it. It is really hard to bite your tongue. So if you goof up and you will, and you say some negative things sometimes, do it if it comes out, because a lot of times it bubbles up and it just explodes. And you just have to clean it up and say, I'm sorry I said this about your dad, but he's a great person. In this way, he's good at this and that. We were a team when we were together. We both would bathe you. If I was sick, he'd get up, he'd bathe you. He'd change you. He'd make dinner if I wasn't feeling well. You talk about the positive side of what their dad did for them, or the other person did for them. And you try to move it from the negative back into the positive, and that's how you turn it around. And you just work on yourself to not release it like that. And what I learned, it took me a while, but what I learned, no joke, when what you put it out into the world is going to come back to you. And so if I was in a really negative space and I was really angry with my ex and I said something really negative about him to one of my friends, it's almost like he could hear me, because then he would act crazy with me all of a sudden. Mean, nasty text messages, just out of the blue. It seemed like it was just crazy. He was on a rampage. And then I noticed if I talked kindly about him, it all stopped. It's like it vanished. It all went away. It was a really interesting experiment I would do a couple of times. After I had the experience, I tried again. And yeah, sure enough, every time I said anything negative about him, it would come back to me. So that's what brings me back to how do you really recover from this? First, you're in ground zero. You have to feel it. You have to sit in the feelings. You have to let them bubble up. You have to let it come out. You're not going to be perfect. People are going to tell you can't talk bad about your spouse. You can't help yourself. But you will eventually get better. And as long as you turn it around, put the positive spin on it right away, when it comes to your children, you'll be fine. And what you do have to know is how they treated you is their karma. Don't worry about it, even though you'd like to see something bad happen sometimes. Don't worry about it. How you respond, how you act towards them is yours. So you will experience that. So be kind to yourself. One of the best things that helped me right away, as I was having a hard time on my first wedding year anniversary, one of my good friends, she knew the whole story, she knew my ex. She shares the same exact anniversary. And so she called me the first time of the anniversary coming around, and I was devastated. I was just bawling. And she called me, and I was crying, and I couldn't even hide it. I couldn't even try to suck it up and act fine for a few minutes. I was just gone. I was in so much pain. I couldn't hide it. And we were friends, so I didn't try. So she said, would you like me to come and pick you up and take you out for coffee somewhere? And I said yes. And she knew I was in deep trouble. I was feeling terrible, because every time she would ask me on the fly, I'm like, no, I gotta take care of the kids. No, I'm fine. I was devastated. I was broken. She came and picked me up. I got dressed. I put some makeup on barely. I combed my hair. I got out. We went to a coffee shop, and I felt so much better. I can't believe it. I can't explain it. I was out in the world. I was out amongst people. I was talking to my friend. I was seeing her. She was giving me love. She was listening to me talk, and she was giving me her loving response, just listening, interacting. When we were leaving to pay for, we went to next door actually to an ice cream shop. We went to get some ice cream. And when I was leaving to pay with the ice cream, this really handsome guy behind the back counter was flirting with me. And I was like, what? Because when you are getting divorced and you're the one that's being left, your self-esteem hits the floor and you feel like crap, basically. And so this guy was flirting with me, and it felt so good. I felt myself coming back to life. It's amazing. I couldn't believe it. And my friend was actually kind of jealous. She was younger than me. She's like, can you believe he was flirting with you and he didn't even notice me? I was so flattered. I didn't even care. I don't know if she was trying to make me feel better, but I was like, I loved it. So getting out into the world is one way to get yourself better. Getting the job or getting your finances back on track, finding shelter, just surviving the regular everyday routine again. And the devastating part about your kids, you get used to as much as you can. You do get used to the joint custody or whatever the setup's going to be. And eventually you find that you kind of enjoy it when they're gone, because you find you don't have to make dinner that night. You don't have to make a big dinner. You actually can go out with your girlfriends and hang out if you want. And I actually was able to take a trip to New York one time when they were gone. I felt guilty that my kids weren't with me, but overall I had a good time. And that was another thing. I never would have traveled probably if I stayed in that relationship, because it was really suffocating that way, in a way. So it wasn't perfect, and you'll look back and you'll think everything wasn't perfect, and everything does happen for a reason. What helped me when my kids weren't with me too is like I shut the doors to their room. So if I walked by the hallway, if the doors were open, I would see their stuff and I'd miss them. So I shut the doors. That was another way to help me cope with that. And whatever you have to do to get you through the time that they're not with you, you will get through it, And try not to be sad. Use that time to clean your house really good. Take up new hobbies that you put aside because you're so busy raising the kids or being married and doing things with your spouse. If you like to cook, go take a cooking class, go take a dancing. I like to dance. I started taking ballroom dancing, and it was really fun. It really opens you up to the world, and it'll open you up again to heal, to be ready for love. But before you can even do that again, no matter how bad your ex-spouse treated you, or maybe he didn't treat you bad, but the feelings of the anger of what you felt you were being victimized in any way, you do have to forgive your spouse, your ex-partner. You have to not forgive them that everything they did is erased and it's all good, like it never happened, because that memory of that will never leave you. That's happened to you. But you have to forgive them, because you have to understand, and eventually you will, that if they left you and they broke up a family, they must have been in a lot of pain themselves in some way, that they were willing to break their vows, break their family up to go pursue a new life on their own with somebody else, or a lot of somebody else's, who knows. And I'm sure from their point of view, it wasn't easy. Completely just easy to get up and walk away. So if somebody is yours, they'll never leave you. If somebody doesn't want you, why would you want them? And that's hard to understand and to believe it and to receive it when you're hurt and you're angry and you're upset and you've been rejected and you're devastated. But really, we all deserve somebody who loves us and wants to stay with us no matter what. We all deserve that. So if you're in a divorce situation, it's happening for a reason, and it's usually for a rebirth of a new you. So I changed my name a couple years later. First, I didn't want to. I wanted to make it easier, so for the kids, for the school purposes, we have the same last name, and that does make it easier. But I wanted a strong new name, and I changed my name, and it made me feel good. It made me feel like a new start. I have new friends, and I go out. I've enjoyed dating, and I haven't found that special one, but I'm in the vortex of manifesting, so I know that special person that's meant for me is coming. I'll do a video about that later. And that's another thing. After a while, after the devastation kind of blows over, you really may enjoy the dating experience. It's a little challenging at first if you've been out of the dating game for like 20, 30 years, like I was. So, kind of dating myself. And it's challenging, but it can be really fun. And you pretty much kind of learn what you want and what you don't want. And it can be really fun. And that's another story. That's another video. So I hope this kind of helped some people out there to help them kind of know they're not alone and go, lean on your friends, lean on family. You will get through this. I know you can't see it right now. They always say there's a light in the tunnel. But another friend told me this because I was at my deepest, darkest despair. I never thought I'd be in a divorce court. I never thought I'd be in a divorce attorney's office. I cried. I never thought that was going to be me. I didn't know I was going to pay so much money to get out of it finally. And I didn't know it was going to get so ugly, like the War of the Roses. I mean, your best friend 1 minute as your public enemy number one, the next, and your mind has a hard time wrapping around, this is not my friend anymore. This person is trying to pull me down. I don't know what I did to upset this person. He used to be my best friend. This might not be the case for all of you, but sometimes it gets really, really dirty. And fighting over every piece of furniture, I just let it go. I let it go. I said, I have faith to replace everything. I don't want the memories anyway. All new stuff didn't come all at once, little by little. I have to build up everything again. And then you feel really good about that. So it's not easy. So one of my friends told me that sometimes you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And this is when I was going really in the divorce, going through the court. It was horrible. It was just the most devastating experience, terrible thing I went through. She said, you might not be able to see the light, but you can see there's a pinhole. There's a tiny, tiny bit of light that is shining through. Think of all your blessings that you have. You're alive. Your kids are healthy and alive. You're healthy. You found a place. I remember crying in my daughter's room we had a nice 3-car garage home. And I remember kneeling, crying in her room one night. God, please help me. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm sad that my kids have to go from a home into maybe something smaller. I don't know where we're going. So now I have a wonderful condo that I was able to get with the sale of the home that we split. And so my kids, it's close to their school. So we're really good. And so sometimes you just can't see that light at the end of the tunnel, but there is one. It's going to take a little while maybe, and it's going to take some mourning period, but you're going to choose to reinvent yourself, come back from this terrible setback was just getting you ready for the best comeback of your life. So just know you're not alone. I hope this helped you. Let me know if you like this video, hit like. If you want to stay in touch, subscribe. And as always, I wish you love, peace, and joy.